bumped up so quickly. All the elements were in place, okay, for this to get strong very quickly. But there were elements out there that could have, beaten it up a little bit. Did not happen. Now, here's your current situation out there. Oh, no, sorry, this is your landfall picture. So you can see how Mexico Beach took the worst of the eye wall, going right over Mexico Beach, pushing that storm surge onshore, Panama Beach, over to Laguna Beach. The other side of the eye wall, very strong, but pushing the water out, away from the shoreline. If you take a look at what we are dealing with as of right now, okay, you've got a storm that's into Georgia, way away from the ocean, and yet still holding on to Cat 3 status. Everybody asks the same question that Jeff Bloor is asking. How? How did this happen? What elements came together? Well, here's the deal. You had warm water, nothing but fuel in front of this system for it to feed on. But we thought it would maybe pull a little bit of dry air. It never mixed in that way. That did not happen. You had rapid intensification, and it never interacted at any point in time with the shoreline of the west coast of Florida or the north portion of the Panhandle. It just didn't happen. So you ended up with nearly a Cat 5 landfall, the strongest storm in that area, about the third strongest storm that the U.S. has ever had as far as a mainland landfall. This is a picture. I was talking about Mexico Beach. This is the worst I have seen so far. Those are tops of houses out there. I think that's about the worst storm surge we have seen. And look at all the destruction. We'll be seeing more pictures like this when we get some daylight on it tomorrow, but it should be pushing up towards the northeast, exiting somewhere around the Chesapeake. Jeff, let's go back to you.
Hey, Lonnie, can you just talk about that quickly? I mean, where the storm goes next? Because, I mean, I know the worst was here, but now, if it's going to pass through North Carolina, other spots that were already saturated before Hurricane Florence, I mean, that's a concern as well, right?
Look, everyone's talking about the exact same thing. And look at the forecasted rainfall totals. These are not enormous like what they picked up earlier, but do you realize some folks haven't even dried out yet in the Carolinas, and portions of the Carolinas could be seeing a 6-inch range. It'll get a little lower as you get towards the coastline, but that rainfall plume is going to push all the way up towards, even like New York City could be seeing a 1 to 3 inch range tomorrow, maybe 2 to 4. We have flash flood warnings in place for the city because of this storm. It's not coming to New York City, stays offshore, but a lot of rain associated with it. Jeff?
All right, Lonnie, thank you very much again. We're going to check in now with Nikki Batiste, who has been in some of the worst of the storm all day. She just filed this report via phone from a shelter in Bristol, Florida.
Jeff, we are at a school in Bristol, which is serving as a shelter to more than 200 people. It has been too dangerous to even leave at all today. We're also just told a tornado has also hit this area, causing severe damage. We can hear and feel the wind and rain shaking the doors in the school here, and the trees lining this school outside have split in half. We were just told by a law enforcement officer who had checked the area that it looks like the apocalypse hit the area. He said there are roofs from homes lying in the streets. The Floridians here with us in the shelter have been incredibly united, even emotional at points. Some people praying out loud. One man actually just walked in not long ago after the hurricane hit and said, "I just lost my home." We are also hearing entire streets in this area have been wiped out. Now comes more waiting. People are being told to stay put here. They're waiting to hear when it's safe for them to go home. And many are hoping to hear from friends and family who stayed behind and that they're safe. Jeff?
Nikki, thanks very much. A tense, frightening afternoon for so many people here in Florida, even more so tonight because cell service in so many cases is not coming in. We have now learned that President Trump says he's going to be visiting this area on either Sunday or Monday. Jeff Pegues has been watching the federal response all day at FEMA headquarters.
At FEMA headquarters, a few hundred people are already coordinating the response to this devastating hurricane. What are you seeing that concerns you the most?
Well, it's doing exactly what the forecasters were pushing forward. I mean, storm surge, you're seeing the ocean rise.
FEMA Administrator Brock Long says the images suggest months or years of recovery for the hardest hit areas.
Power is going to be out for weeks, and infrastructure is going to be heavily damaged. It takes a long time to put this back together.
We caught up to Long after he briefed the president at the White House.
So they're reporting that this is one of the most powerful hurricanes ever to hit our country. Is that actually a fact?
Well, so in this area, this would be the most intense hurricane that's struck this area since 1851.
FEMA has about 3,000 employees in the field, plus aircraft and search and rescue teams ready to move into both Florida and Georgia. But with more than 60 severe storms and hurricanes over the last 2 years, FEMA is under considerable pressure. Is FEMA stretched thin?
Yes, you start to reach a point where the internal capabilities to manage not only the day-to-day mission of what we do, but also the sheer number of disasters, and not just the sheer number of disasters, but how intense these disasters have been over the last year and a half. Yeah, it starts to put stress inside the agency.
And that is magnified 5 months into the hurricane season. There's a lot of top jobs here at FEMA that have yet to be filled. Today in a briefing, Administrator Long expressed his frustration that his deputy had yet to be confirmed, even though he was nominated this past summer. Jeff.
Jeff Begay, thank you very much. We are going to have much more from the hurricane zone coming up in the broadcast. Also coming up here tonight, there's been an arrest made in a plot to blow up a bomb in D.C. on Election Day. We're back right after this.
Mucus with the Alka-Seltzer Plus cough and mucus. Just